Namaste. Welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. Have you ever felt a moment so powerful it cracked your world open and something ancient and wise rushed in to meet you? Today's guest, Stuart, knows exactly what that feels like. Once living a life guided by the ordinary, a profound shift awakened him to the extraordinary. Now an intuitive oracle reader and spiritual guide, Stuart channels guidance through sight, sound, and feeling, helping others come home to their truth. In this episode, we journey into what it means to walk a soul-aligned path, to live in connection with our inner knowing, and to trust the unseen. Welcome to the show, Stuart. Namaste, Stuart. Welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. I am thrilled to have you here today. First of all, tell our listeners where you're joining us from and the choice of beverage you've got with you today.
And thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to talk. I'm in Brisbane, so I'm in Brisbane, Australia, and my beverage I'm drinking actually is just a plain cup of coffee.
Awesome. So what's one thing you love about Brizzy?
About Brizzy? The weather.
Yeah, tropical weather, and I think
I'm not one for cold weather, but the last few days have been cold, but the days have been warm, so it's been pretty good that way.
Yeah, a bit jealous of you now in Melbourne. We're just hit with a cold wind, so it's
just thinking by Saturday I'll be in New Zealand and I'll be freezing down there.
All right, yeah, it's fine. Even out. Awesome. All right, Stuart, I love your background, by the way. I think there's a beautiful lioness you've got there. I really like it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it speaks to me. All right, awesome. So I think what we want to do is, I want you to take us to the moment where you had this life-changing experience and what that shift looked like for you and awakened this deeper spiritual calling.
Well, I've had two changing. The first one was back in late 2009. I was told I had cancer, so basically it was sort of like it shook my world, shook my foundations. But then as I moved into the new year, I started looking at things in a positive light. Things started opening up to me. Things started showing me. I call it droplets of information, like things were dropping in front of me, and I was picking them up and moving on with them. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until after my treatment that things started really picking up. Those droplets of information were getting bigger, sort of like things were showing up on Facebook, things were showing up in feeds, things were interesting me. So it was sort of like starting to direct me to where I needed to go. So I found a lovely lady down on the Gold Coast who taught me to trust myself and read cards, which then sort of I played with that for a long time. Come around 2016, I had a second run-in with cancer. This sort of really opened me up. This is where then I started learning about my healing, so doing Reiki, doing sound healing, but also this is where I started to understand where I was using my mediumship, but I had to do it under my terms. And then passing information on to people as I was going along and trusting myself with that information as I went along.
What is it like to, connect to the other side? And when you do speak to the energies that no one can see but you. So how do people respond to you? I know this is a question I kind of hear going around. So I thought I'd ask on behalf of my audience and what it's like. Is it
okay? I connect. I don't see people per se as physical beings. I see them. If you remember back in the years when the TV would go off, you get the little black and white ants on the TV. When the thing. So this is how I see it. I see them as shape as black and white ants. I get the feeling of what they are. So they give me the feeling of if they're male or female. And then I interpret what they show to me, but how I see them is like I see them as a figure, as a black and white ant. Sometimes, depending on the person or depending on what they need to get through, I do see people, but it's sometimes in a like a very vague light, or if it needs to be something very stern, they're in a like a dark light where their face is there, but you can see them with a bit of shadow across them. They're trying to get a point across to me. So it's sort of like I do see faces from time to time. So, but it is different for everybody. Everybody does their thing in different ways. But when I first started understanding it, I had to learn to trust me. Like trust what I was hearing, trust what I was seeing, trust what I was feeling, and pass that on.
And I would imagine this is how you would go along with this gift of, intuitive oracle reading that you do, that the gift you've got is, this is how you would hear and feel when you channel messages. Is
Yes,
that right?
pretty much. So when I do my readings, when I first started off, it was more what I felt. Because I had to learn to trust myself. So learning to trust what I was thinking, seeing what I was hearing. And I don't class myself as a psychic. I rather class myself as an intuitive reader. So I read intuitively. I read what I feel, hear, or see, as you said. But it's a lot of that is you have to trust yourself, what you're hearing, because sometimes I would hear something, see something, or I'd see something that I didn't understand, but I would admit it because I didn't understand it. But then I started just blurting it out to the people, and it was making sense to the other people. Didn't have to make sense to me, it made sense to the other people. So that's where I started to learn to trust my gifts and what I was given and how I used them. And I use it in everyday life. Is this right for me? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going in the right direction? It's sort of like just those questions of following what I want to do.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I think this your inner light guiding you. I think that's the beautiful thing ever. And I always say this, and I talk to when I do talk to my friends and family, that everyone has an intuition. It's just about how you kind of practice it and sharpen your skills. I think every human has that kind of gift, and I think only some people kind of tap into it. Not everyone does.
Everyone. I mean, I'm what you just say. I do believe everyone is a firm, but I do believe everyone has a gift, whether it's sight, hear, feel, taste, anything like that. But again, you've got to. It's like a muscle. You've got to work it. You've got to work it. You've got to trust it. And the more you work it, the more you trust it, the more it's going to work in your benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about walking with others as they awaken to the magic. So what does that awakening look like, and what blocks do you often see holding people back?
Now, the awakening is different for everybody. So you see different things. You see it in different lights. A lot of people think it's just, to me, it's like they're running around. This is how it's got to be. This is how it's got to be. It's not like that. Everyone wakes up differently. Everybody wakes up seeing different things or understanding different things. But the awakening itself is more your inner you coming out, and you trusting your inner you. All right. And the more you can see your inner you, the more you trust your inner you, the more you will get out of where you're going and what the things that you're doing. But I see that as well from my perspective. When I see people trying to walk their light and not trusting themselves, it's more holding them back. Because you need to trust yourself. You need to trust. I'm going to say you need to trust what's here, not what's up here. All right. This is the thing that will talk you out of. This is the thing that's always going to be right. But you've got to make sure it's right. It's got to feel right here.
Yeah. All right. And I think this brings back to the other question that I was just kind of, we're talking about how one can reconnect with this guiding light that they have, their intuition, the little voice, that's there within us. So this, how can someone, begin to reconnect with their soul's truth and know that they're on the right path? So how can one kind of, go back and, after this episode, how can they start incorporating things that can help them to reconnect with their soul's truth?
Their soul's truth, I mean, there's various ways, but for me personally, you've got to go back. You've got to see where you've made your mistakes, and then how you felt with those mistakes. And then you look at that mistake and say, well, I was feeling this, but I did this. I should have done this. So it's more like as you go back and see where you've made the mistake or where it hasn't come out correctly where you want it to come out, but it's more don't see the mistake, but see how you feel, and then you start deciphering that, and then as you start moving forward, you start feeling what's inside you more than what's going on around you to understand what's going on. It's again connecting, to your higher self, but connecting to your inner to make you feel it right. But it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's going to be different. Everyone's not going to be the same. Everyone's not has the same. I'm going to say it's not a cookie cutter solution. Everything is different. Everyone has a different path or has a different element that they need to follow.
Yeah, I think just kind of ripping apart your true nature and understanding that, I think that's where the true growth and the reconnection really happens. I mean, you need to kind of rip out the Band-Aid first.
You also got to let go of some of your previous beliefs to move forward as well.
Yeah.
And the more you can let go of previous beliefs and, as you said, conditions, the more chances are you'll wake up in a different thing. But then you've got to make sure you trust what you feel, but not everything in front of you is correct. Something's not always right there. So you've got to make sure you find the right in the wrong, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. This makes sense. So what's one truth you've come to live by since your awakening? Something that continues to anchor you no matter what comes your way?
My truth is trusting my inner, like knowing, trusting my knowing, trusting my inner thing. But also, there's a couple of things. The other one is making sure I'm grounded to where I need to be. I'm not off flying with the pixies trying to make a decision, if that makes sense. Be grounded, be where you want to be comfortable with what you make. But it's more, the biggest thing is trusting yourself to give you the right guidance. If you can trust your right guidance, then you will be on the right path. You will get what you want. You will be happy. You will follow what you should be doing. You should be following your happy trail where you're happy. You can do things that you want.
Yeah, awesome. And I know, Stuart, that you kind of work with oracle cards, but how are they different from tarot cards? Are they the same?
They are different. The cards. If you can get, I'll rephrase that. An oracle card to me, when I look at an oracle card, this allows me to flow with what's coming into me. So it allows me to freeform what I feel, hear, see, and put it together. So to me, that's a free, like oracle cards are like a free, intuitive run. Where tarot to me is a very structured thing. It's done in a structured way. It needs to be done like this. It needs to be done like this, which then inhibits my flow on the cards or what's coming into me, because I know this card means something and this card means something that, and if they come together, they mean something as well. And structure to me, when I'm reading, makes it a bit hard because I like to free flow my information. I like to let it flow in and flow out and be able to go where everyone's guides wants me to go to get messages required for these people that are sat in front of me.
Yeah, awesome. And if we do have, audiences who maybe have sparked an interest after this episode to kind of go and research about oracle cards or even learn it themselves, so what would you recommend for people kind of venturing into this, trying to explore their gifts?
The first thing is just do your research and don't look at just one particular thing. Look at many different things, because you can incorporate something out of this one or something out of this one to get what you want. When it comes to cards, crystals, things like that. Crystals pick you. You don't pick the crystals because of the vibrations. But when it comes to cards, find what resonates with you. Right? Find the card that you can see, look at the cards, you can talk to the card. The card seems to talk to you. All right? And I mean, I'm not a big hoarder, but I've got probably about 2 dozen sets of cards in my cupboard down here beside me. But at the moment, I always come back to certain cards that have meaning to me. I mean, I have a deck that was, I'm going to say, almost gifted to me, um, which I come back to, which is my animal deck, which is I've put in a wooden box where I've had a 75-year-old lady from way up north build it for me with recycled timber. Then I've got a couple other sets of cards that were gifted to me as well, but they are special to me, so it makes it more connected when I'm making those readings.
Hmm. Right, that's so beautiful. With that, I thought, Stuart, maybe we could do like a rapid fire questions, like just spice things up a bit. I do like to play some games along with my
Yep.
guests. And this is a rapid fire. I thought I'll ask you a set of questions and you go with one thing that comes to your mind extra. So it's a rapid fire, so you need to be quick, right?
Yep.
So I'm gonna start off with my first question to you is, what's your favorite spiritual tool you can't live without? Quick.
My cards.
Okay. One song that instantly lifts your vibration.
Instantly respond. Ooh.
Come on.
I could go for two here, but I'll go with the Beach Boys. I can't think of the name of the song. But it's anything out of the Beach Boys,
Okay.
Anything out of the Beach Boys, or Patience out of Guns N' Roses.
Awesome. Tea, cacao, or something stronger during a reading.
Water.
If your soul had a symbol, what would it be?
Peace sign.
Okay. One word to describe what it feels like when you're fully aligned.
Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, you did well. Awesome. I think it just really gets people like thinking.
It does. But I found when you're asking about the music is depending on my mood. But anything out of the Beach Boys because it's up and booty. But Patience and things like that, it got that whistle, which also brings in the vibration for me as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Awesome. All right. Lastly, Stuart, I know we are coming to an end of our podcast today, but before we let you go, I thought we could just kind of quickly touch upon if you have any clientele stories or that have kind of shocked you and amazed you. If you're okay to share, that's fine. But I would also like you to maybe recommend any best practices in terms of working with your intuition, working with the cards, or even books that you can recommend on this journey for our audience.
So books, to be honest with you, books can be difficult because what I might like or what you might like, they may like. It's more you need to go in and look and have a look at and see what talks to you. Look for information online that will help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other questions?
I think some of your client journeys that you have had so far, were there any that kind of just blew you away? Did you have any experiences?
I've had a few readings where I've blown myself away, but I've also blown. I sat down one Christmas. I gave a reading to a lady and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
So the gentleman let the lady go first, and about halfway through, I said, "You're pregnant. You haven't told him," and he got up and walked out.
Oh my! Oh my!
That one was the biggest shock of my life. It was like, and when he'd gone, she said, "No, I haven't told him." So that was something that she didn't expect to come up.
Right.
I've had a couple of readings where I've come up about travel, and it's sort of like it's been a couple of weeks down the track since they see me again, and they said, "Yeah, we just booked the holiday. We didn't even know we were going to book it." So it was sort of like it was pretty much that it was what they were doing to, but my biggest the biggest thing I like out of doing this is giving messages to people that require them, and if you are open to messages and not looking for anything in particular, you'll get a lot more out of the readings that you're looking for. You'll get the messages that you're supposed to get.
Mm.
And it's more like you've got to be open. You've got to have that open mind when you sit in front of it. Because if you sit in front of someone who is closed, you're not going to get the reading that you want.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, if someone is going to go look for a reader, look for somebody that you are attracted to, someone who draws you in, because they're the ones that are going to give you the readings that you require, or the awesome readings that will blow you away.
Yeah, it was beautifully said. Thank you so much. And you have been a true fighter. You're fighting cancer, and it must have been a roller coaster ride for you. And I think something beautiful has come out of that experience for you, Stuart. So I'm very happy for you, and I'm very grateful for the work you're doing. So thank you so much. I guess it's such a gift, such a blessing to have. And thank you so much, for coming on the show and sharing your personal experiences, your journey, and just kind of helping build a community of, I think, just wisdom. And I always tell my listeners and viewers that there's a lot of information out there that's kind of misleading, and when it comes from people like you who've had this real life experiences of things, I think this means a lot to me and to the podcast. So I would like to thank you so much again for coming on Sipping on Stories. It was amazing and lovely to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. I'll leave your listeners with one little bit. When you're doing something, do it to your full heart's content, but make sure you clear your negative energies. The more you clear your negative energies, the clearer you will become.
Amazing. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Awesome.